now we cover the Asia whipsaws. I'm being honest, like the last, let's say, a few days, there did not happen so much, but again, they're just switching it up. There was like weeks where every day in a row was an Asia whipsaw. So yeah, we just prepare you for what everything is pretty much there. And by the way, like November, December, these Asia whipsaws happen a lot more. So just we want to prepare you for what's going to happen. Okay. So in general, what is going on here with the Asia whipsaw? As you already can see, these little elephants in here making nice tricks, whatever. So pretty much the Asia whipsaw just means pretty much Asia high and Asia low getting whipped and whipped and whipped. So what is going on here? Like why and how do they do it? Asia whipsaw, what does it mean? First of all, we've asked our friend Google again and just type in whipsaw. And also it already gives us a definition in terms of stock market. So interesting already. So in general, a whipsaw is just a usual saw with a narrow blade and a handle on both ends. Okay, so used typically by two people. Okay, that doesn't help us too much, right? But again, if you look into the into the other definition, and now things get really interesting, is a subject to do a double loss. Okay. As when buying a security before the price falls and selling before the price rises. Okay, that gets more interesting. That a little bit brings more sense into the whole picture. So let's see what they're doing here. So, what is an Asia whipsaw? Grant, by the way, how was the fight? After Asia is, I think you're good because otherwise you wouldn't be there, right? So after Asia is set, we have a fast rapid move or fast rapid moves to one side of Asia range, grabbing liquidity, and then a rapid move to the other side to grab even more liquidity. It is a market condition identification confluence. Again, it's important as we can then understand how to trade a specific pair for that day. So if that happens, you can expect that to happen. Of course, like the outplay of it, and at least understand what's going on here. It's hard to trade and a very aggressive movement. Asia whipsaws are typically very, very aggressive and making retailers almost impossible to catch trades in here. So we have a retail heaven and we have a retail hell. And the Asia whipsaw is absolutely retail freaking hell. They're just smashing every possible strategy there is with these Asia whipsaws. Okay. So pretty much breakout traders from both sides are hit in and then getting an instant loss right after. And it's pretty much a mass confusion for those people because there's no retail analysis makes sense if they decide to play your Asia whipsaw. Okay. It is therefore a technique to reduce confidence in traders at the very beginning of the day, right? Because again, they give them the retail confirmation and then they smoke everyone out. And then they do the same thing all over again. So, what is the Asia whipsaw characteristics? So first of all, we see our normal Asia range as always, and of course you need to wait until it's closed. Then at this point, everything is normal in price. Everything is normal. You have a minor inducement, and then you have your whatever London plane here. But out of a sudden, they decide to just smoke through Asia range like nothing. Okay, and this is already the first sign that this can happen as an Asia whipsaw. And they're being so rapid, making everyone excited in the one side, but then out of a sudden they reverse, typically in magic manipulation minutes, and then they reverse the whole market on them again. So you have like a whip saw. Okay, so first the whip, and then breaking the other saw. And this is the worst variation we have. So it's typical, again, Frankfurt or London open, we typically see a grab of liquidity, as you usually know. But then out of a sudden, a very aggressive move and there's no significant pullbacks. This would be pullbacks, but there's usually no pullbacks. It's just a rapid move through it and then reacting from some sort of reaction here, magic manipulation minutes, and then we can play the other round, okay? So how does it look on other plays? So once they grabbed enough liquidity on one side, they will reverse fast once again, and then price can get very jumpy for the day. So if you see this scenario, expect like everything around that after will usually be a very big mess. Okay, so there aren't any entries between the first and the second grab, and retailers they have no pretty much entry opportunity, and we only sometimes have entry opportunities here. So they're very hard to trade, but of course we need to understand what is going on in these plays in here. So when you see it as a form of like, again, like we will not call it pattern, but at least you need to recognize what's going on in here and then understand, oh shit, maybe that's an Asia whipsaw, and then have a better understanding of the cycle and orientation. So we use it as a confluence again for us to understand, okay, what the hell was going on here? No, we understand, okay, this was an Asia whipsaw. So we have two cases here. So we have a case number one, which team number one, which happens, Asia low being induced, one rapid move upside, and then what we expect. Usually we wouldn't expect maybe this is a break of structure, maybe an area of interest of the break of structure. But if you have an Asia whipsaw in here, what happens usually, they're taking out this low, rapid movement upwards, faking whatever smart money trap in here, even given a reaction, creating even new lower low. And this new low again whips out the rest of it. So you see, they're just making it impossible for retailers to get an entry, because a breaker trade is getting induced here, getting stopped out here, breaking inducement getting induced here, getting stopped out here, then they're building it up. Obviously stop loss goes below here for all the people, and then of course they're stopping it out one more time, and then they wrap it out here and stopping out all those guys again. It's the same thing on the other direction here. We have a case 2 as well, which it happens similar, but again not so rapid. You have a minor inducement here, then again London open in here, then like not really pullbacks at any means, and then again rapid movement, magic manipulation maybe here and also here, and then they just continue the rest of the day just going downwards in this direction. But first you're having a quick easy trade in here, and then a completely whip, and you expecting this point to be taken out, and guess what, this in here will become the smart money trap, gives a false reaction, and then gets smoked on the low side in here. Okay, that's variation number 1 and pretty much case 1 and 2 on theme number 1. Then we have theme number 2, which we have something like this. Of course, it's the same way, just the opposite direction. So pretty much inducing high first. This would be our entry. And then again, at this point, everything looks normal as usual. But then if we see this Asia getting whipped without any pullbacks whatsoever, and again, we could expect, oh shit, maybe this play is done and they're going for the whipsaw, and we're expecting this point now to be taken out. Okay, and then of course they can reverse the whole thing again and taking out this trade. So it's just retail hell pretty much. Okay, for us, at least we need to understand what's going on. Order inducing high first here, little to no pullbacks at all, going here, magic manipulation minutes, giving you a break of structure, magic manipulations here, and then they just whip this day out again, making the small money trap in here, and then the rest just becomes messy. So how does it look in charts? Right, so that's, for example, like just to show you the dates, because it happens like 5 days in a row. And the funny thing is, we had like a lesson about Asia whipsaws like a while ago, and when we taught it, it happened 3 days like pretty much after we taught it, which is kind of funny if you think about that. So again, we obviously taught the Asia whipsaw, and of course you have a minor inducement here, then you have inducement here. What do you have? Some sort of equal lows in here, gets the reaction done, mitigation in here perfectly. But out of a sudden, you have this huge reaction, of course, and then you need to understand at some point, oh shit, maybe this is an Asia whipsaw, maybe I close my trade better out in here, right? Of course, because what do they do? Whipping the whole thing, taking out all the buyers in here or sellers in here, inducing even more buyers now, and then reversing the whole market on them again. Okay, it's very hard to trade, but again, this can happen for sure as well, and take sometimes to this place. So if we put our schematic to this whole play, it's August. It's August. Yeah, so that's whatever, German, European. So that's 4th of August. If you want to backtick it. Okay. But then why do I put the dates in? Because again, we give the schematic like before this happened, of course, whatever. But guess what happens? The very next day, like first of all, like I should bet, are you kidding me? Because again, we taught it literally like a few days off before. But pretty much what happens, again, just putting our circles to see like how similar it actually was to our schematic. Literally funny side note, right? It was pretty much exactly how we drew it. But then guess what? We gave a few more variations to the theme, right? And then what happens, first of all, that was just insane, right? But it probably was a coincidence. So the very next day, this happened in here. So what do we have? We have our normal Asia range. Never got induced to the upside here. But then, what do we have? inducement high, rapid movement, no pullback at all, creating the Asia whipsaw, faking the double bottom here, faking the reaction, inducing to low side, and then taking out these guys. Very hard to trade, but again, at least you understand it. And guess what? That's the schematic we gave out. Like, what the fuck? Okay, like again, this was like before we already gave it out, and then it happened exactly like that, like a few days after. It was just so accurate. I actually got freaked out myself. It was just funny. Okay, and it was so accurate. It was kind of funny. And again, probably this will happen in a few days next, or we never know. So then again, we can make this shit up. It's again when we actually show this stuff before. Like, again, we show you schematics you do like months ago, and then it should just happen like to the absolute pip, to the minute. Sometimes it's just crazy at some points, right? Whatever. But again, we drew this illustration like last week's, whatever, before it happened, and then again it just happened, which is obviously. Then again, 3 days before we took this first example, again we had 2 days in a row, and again 3 days after this one, exactly that happened again. You have your minor inducement, then inducement of this one in London. What has happened? Huge whip, no real pullbacks whatsoever, and again break of structure in here, trading the mitigation in here, and then just whips the whole thing once again, faking what? Smart money trap in here, small reaction, and then smashes it through it. What is our schematic? To the fucking tick. Like, what in the hell? Okay. That was the first time we taught it, by the way. So again, that was literally our people when we taught it, and happened like 3 days in a row after we taught it. It's like kind of funny. Anyways, you need to understand that they or the architects and whatsoever only have limited tricks to screw everyone, and that's the little things in here. They have technical analysis, aka liquidity. Okay, then they have fundamental analysis, giving people like these falls, whatever, random numbers whatsoever. Then they have market manipulation, aka these market makers and these institutions, if they work together. Then they know the human emotions and psychology side to it. They know the power of timing, of course, to let you waiting, whatever, keep you waiting, keep you impatient whatsoever. And then the power of session changes and magic manipulation minutes, right? London close, London open, New York trap time, everything in between, right? Then, of course, they have unlimited money supply. They can never do the hell what they want. If they decide to whatever now push EU higher, like for whatever, they technically could do. Of course, they make it smarter than that. And of course, they have all the available data at all time. And then they have the Enigma, which delivers it all. But you have to understand that that's all they got. That's all they got. A few variations, and that's all they got. So 3 steps will always say the same. Or what is the 3 steps? What is the 3 steps? Will always stay the same though. It doesn't matter what it's going on. It's always the same 3 steps. So what is it? There you go. Perfect. Perfect. It is build up, always putting in liquidity into the markets, getting induced, getting mitigation with the inducement or the mitigation of the inducement. That's never can ever change, ever. The rest is just variations to the themes. And at some point, we figured everything out. It just gets a little bit of time to get into your brain. And at some point, of course, it's like this. Just understand it, what's going on, becoming fearless. And of course, the moment you become fearless, everything else will become limitless. Okay? Because there's only so much they have. There's no more. That's all they fucking have. Okay? So, Asia Whips is in more detail for you to understand it better. So that's the normal cases, but of course we put in some timings to make it even clearer. London Open happens in here, Magic Manipulation happens in here, New York Trap time happens in here, and of course London Close happens in here. Same thing for the Schematic 2, London Open, Magic Manipulation minutes, and also here. New York Trap can happen in here, faking what? Double top, and then continues higher, just for even more clarity, okay? And again, if you just look into the charts, flip it upside down, use our brains, and then again, how does it look like in the charts? Exactly like that. And again, that's just an example from July, so you can see that's the same shit all over again. Doesn't matter if it's August or fucking December or fucking January of 1969, it does not matter. They only have so much things in their books. Okay, what do they have? Minor inducement here, rapid movement, when does it stop? Magic manipulation minutes. Right, then again, when's the re-entry? Magic manipulation minutes. Again, what's here? Faking the double top, double bottom. faking the double top and bottom, mitigation, London close, and then messes around. It's always the same shit, guys. Just need to figure out what schematic they're playing and just react from that one. Again, Frankfurt instead of London, okay. And this was magic manipulation minutes off a little bit. Okay. But isn't it the same exact shit we drew? Isn't it the same exact freaking shit? So all the variations we give you, you will see like to the tick in the charts at some point. The only difficulty is to find out what play they're playing and you react from that. The rest is the same exact shit all over again. Okay? Again, the rest is just vertically identical. I hope some guys know my man Goldman. Okay? And again, you're smarter than a clock. Timing is again the last complement. Again, another one. What's going on here? Case 1, team 2. What's going on here? August example. Right? Again, it's the same shit all over again. You put timing into it. Look at it. Magic manipulation minutes to the fucking minute. What is going on here? New York trap to the fucking minute. Like, you cannot make that shit up. You cannot make it up. Like, how? Right? And that's just for you to know and understand to not get whipped. Right? And so the whipping is over. Again, we can make a little case study in here. So what's going on here? Asia set. We have equal highs in here. Instant rush of liquidity. So we know it's our what? Our inducement in here. Perfect. Right. So what do? We're having our quick shift in direction. And entry does present. Right. That's a case we could easily enter after break of structure. A little bit hard of mitigation here. Right. Of course. And that's would be possible left in here as well. Right. We can take this for sure. All of a sudden, they just decide to whip it. Okay. So now we can do, okay, maybe the Asia Whipsaw presents itself. Perfect break of structure in here. Guess what it does? Mitigates, so that's your Mona Lisa trade in here. Perfect after the build up, right? Inducement with speed, magic manipulation minutes to the minute, right? Perfect. And then again, you take the retest of here after the break of structure. And guess what? They're faking. Of course, the reaction perfectly getting jumpy. What I'm doing here. Everyone should know what comes next. This may be being EDM trading here. Obviously, that price will not stop here. It will get whipped. Okay. That's how we trade it. And then, of course, London close comes and then market just over. In other words, it's just unlimited power at this point. You know all the schematics that can happen and you just need to figure it out. Like what's going to happen next. Another one. What is going on here? Same thing. Doesn't look that shit always the same. Like seriously, it look the same exact shit all the time. Again, what is going to happen here? Whipping Asia range. Instant giving a reaction, right? So what's going to happen next? Whipping the lows. So what can we expect next after this happen? Of course, another whip to the upside. What's going to happen? We're whipping the highs even one more time. And then it reacts and gets whipped after that. Right? And then it gets whipped even one more time. It's just crazy. And it's just to not chase the carrot. Just know and understand. Do not chase these carrots and whatever. Get tricked if an Asia Whipsaw gets presented. So you need to understand Asia Whipsaws as well. Sometimes they happen and then it's very, very hard to trade. And it's for your safety to understand, oh shit, to not chase the trade ever. Okay. Another one, last one. It's a crazy example in case 1 and 2 combined this time. So what do we have? Asia range being set, potential buys. Why? Right. Of course, what do we have in here? Mitigation of day open as well. Perfect. Okay, never induced Asia high. So what's going on here? Messing around, minor inducement here. But guess what? They never induced highs here. But again, for the internal play, there's your tube. But this becomes, of course, the Asia Whipsaw, right? Messing around, faking the reaction. And guess what? This madness comes in, just whipping out here, whipping out here. It's just insane. And this becomes, again, like a very crazy variation of the Asia Whipsaw. So what do you expect even in this scenario? You expect a whipping one more time. And at this point, it's retailer destruction. It is just destruction of every retailer there is. And they even make it like this. And then guess what? They whipped once, they whipped twice, they whipped thrice, whatever, 50 times. And then guess what? After this whipping, another whipping, like what in the hell? Retailer hell. It's literally retailer hell. And that's how they look. They're like 20 years old, but they look like this because they're having so much stress. And they're like, oh